During Trump's visit to the troops in Iraq, he bragged about something that he allegedly accomplished for members of our military. Take a look.
You protect us, we are always going to protect you. And you just saw that because you just got one of the biggest pay raises you've ever received, unless you don't want it. Does anybody here? Is anybody here willing to give up the big pay raise you just got? Raise your hand, please. Oh, I don't see too many hands. Okay. Don't give it up. It's great. You know what? Nobody deserves it more. You haven't gotten one in more than 10 years. More than 10 years. And we got you a big one. I got you a big one. I got you a big one. They had plenty of people that came up. They said, you know, we could make it smaller. We could make it 3%. We could make it 2%. We could make it 4%. I said, no. Make it 10%. Make it more than 10%.
Okay, we're about to fact check and give you the real numbers. But before we do it, I have to comment on a small part of his statement there where he's like, unless you don't want it. How insulting is that? Like, I thought of how I would react. Like, let's say I'm having a meeting with you, he's my boss, which is why you should help me beat him in the host competition, tyt.com/Anna. Like, if you're giving me a raise, you're like, unless you don't want it. Like, that would make me very upset.
It would make anybody upset. No, you know, as usual, he sounds like a mob boss.
Yeah.
Look, all right, Tony, I give it to you, unless you don't want it. Okay, all right, kiss the ring. Oh, there you go, Tony. There you go, okay? So, I mean, no mature person, let alone president, goes to the troops and go, oh, you like it? You like it? Okay, I do it. Hey, unless you don't want it, I'll take it back, okay? And then he said, I got it for you. Now, that's part of the fact check, but I got it for you. Even if it was true, what an arrogant, terrible thing to say, right? It's the American taxpayers who give it. It's not Donald Trump out of his pocket. And it turns out, of course, God, he is pathological. None of that was true.
None of it.
None of it. So let's give you the facts and then talk about his psychosis.
So he claimed that, he didn't want to settle for 2% or 3%. He wanted more than a 10% raise for our military. So what do the real numbers indicate? Troops will receive a 2.6%, not 10% pay hike for 2019. They got a 2.4% pay hike in 2018. So in other words, he did not even fight for 3% increase in their pay. Besides which, the president doesn't get to sit in the Oval Office and make a decision unilaterally about how much members of the military make. It is tied to the private sector, and that's how the decision is made. And I would argue that our troops are not paid nearly enough for putting their lives on the line to make all these defense contractors wealthy. Okay, so we'll get to that in just a second. But American troops have received a pay hike every year for decades.
That hasn't happened in 10 years, not in 10 years.
2019's raise is the largest in 9 years.
Okay, so let me break it down further. So you haven't gotten a pay raise in 10 years. One, that's totally untrue. They've gotten a pay raise every year. Number two, they would know that. They would know that. They see their paychecks, and their paychecks are minuscule. I'll tell you what they are in a second. And so if you get a little bit of a bump, you'll definitely notice it because you need every one of those dollars, okay? So number two, it's 10%. Why do you do that? Why do you lie like that when it's so easy to catch you? He doesn't even know how large it was. Of course he has no idea. He doesn't know it was 2.6 this year and 2.4 last year. He has no idea. So. But to me, the most interesting line is the one where he made up the conversation, where the advisors come in and go, let's give him 2%. He says, no, higher. 3%? No, higher, okay? 4%? No, I wanted 10%. I mean, obviously that conversation never happened.
Right.
There's something wrong with him. He's mentally unbalanced. That's like the old character out of that John Lovitz used to play on Saturday Night Live. You old school guys will remember that. Yeah, that's the ticket. They said to me 2%. I said, no, let's do 10%. Yeah, that's the ticket. I mean, that was a character that people made fun of, the pathological liar. Who I had a friend, we were kids, we were tiny kids. I don't remember if we were 4th or 5th grade, and I had this rival in elementary school. He once said, oh yeah, before I came to New Jersey when I was in Virginia, I bowled a 300. I'm like, what are you, Kim Jong-un? Okay, I didn't know that back then. So one day we went bowling. You know what he bowled? I'm not kidding, a 3. Okay.
Wow.
A 3, which is unbelievable. Okay. So he reminds me of that 5th grader. You know, the 5th grader's insecure and he's lying because he's trying to puff himself up. That's the president of the United States. He's 72 years old.
He reminds me, it's funny because as he was, sharing that fictional negotiation, I was thinking about athletes who win, like let's say they win the Super Bowl or whatever it is, right? Something big. And then they needlessly make themselves the underdogs, right?
Yeah.
And just to puff themselves up and make it seem like no one thought we could do it, but we did it. Like you won, dude. No one had a conversation about how they didn't think you would accomplish this. Like move on.
No, that's Ben Mankiewicz's pet peeve, and I love that. He's like, Golden State Warriors win, and they're like, nobody thought we could do it. Everybody thought you could do it. You have the best team ever. Everybody thought it, right? But you're right. Nobody thought we could do it.
Okay. So let's just quickly get into what the troops actually make, and it's devastating when you look at the numbers. So basic pay for active duty soldiers can range from $19,659 for a new private, so not even $20,000 for a new private, to, if you're lucky, $38,059 for a staff sergeant with 6 years of experience.
Yeah, and so if you watch the Young Turks, we've shared that number with you before, and it was when Just Democrats were running all across the country in the last couple of years, and they were up against both Republicans and establishment Democrats, and both of those folks have unfortunately voted for wars and voted for defense contractors, get trillions of dollars, and then brag about how they support the troops, and we're like, wait a minute, we know people in those districts, and I double checked, we triple checked. Incoming soldiers make $19,000. $19,000, even after all of their pay increases. And then this buffoon goes in there who got $413 million from his dad and then ran from Vietnam, and made up a lie about his bone spurs. And he comes in and goes, I got you a big pay raise, over 10%. It was me who did it. I mean, how insulting is that? Jesus Christ. And finally, it was not remotely him. I just want to be super clear about that. The pay raise is calculated by the Department of Labor. It's a formula they use, as Anna pointed out, based on private sector wages. It is automatic. The reason it was a large one this year has nothing to do with Trump. It's because the economy had gone up, and you could say, hey, you want to give him credit for that? Whatever, that's a whole nother long conversation. But it's based on how the rest of the economy is doing. Trump did absolutely nothing about their pay raise. It is automatic from the Department of Labor. He is an unbelievable liar.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.